Good morning. I am Wilfredo Rodriguez. I'm down here in Las Marias, Puerto Rico, at our family farm
What are the challenges of being a farmer in
in
Puerto
Puerto
Rico?
Rico.
Yeah.
The main thing is finding somebody that wants to work. Just plain and simple work. It doesn't have to be the farm. It could be anything. It's really hard to find someone that comes down here and gives us a hand. From time to time, you get somebody, but it's something that you can't do all the time because after the hurricane or before the hurricane, they didn't want to do it. Worse comes the hurricane and you can't find anybody to help out. So basically, the farm, the grass grows, everything that you don't want to grow keeps growing, and it makes it 3 times, 100 times, how many times harder to work the land. And it's not an easy task, especially down here. In my part of the town is Las Marias, is a rainy area. So you have to work the morning. If you get up too late in the morning, by noon, it's already raining.
So how much usually somebody who works on a farm gets paid? Like a U.S. citizen, how much would they get paid?
If it's just somebody to help clean or something, they probably get paid like $5 an hour. There's a program where they could get the state minimum here in Puerto Rico, which is $5.50 an hour, and nobody wants to work with that because it's too much work. So farmers like me and my dad find it difficult to find somebody, and we try to take on the load. But before the hurricane, we would manage to make some money off of the farm. But after the hurricane, we haven't been able to make almost anything. From time to time, I get like one racimo or maybe a couple pineapples, a couple pumpkins. And when I try to sell them, if I don't find somebody that I might know, a friend or acquaintance, somebody looking for something specific, I have to go to a certain supermarkets or persons that rebuy stuff, and they want it basically almost free. For example, I sell very cheaply my plátanos, usually about 50 cents. And they don't want to pay that to resell. They usually offer you about 25 cents, 30 cents, sometimes 20 cents. And then when you go to the supermarket to buy some other things and you see them there, they have them for like 89 cents or 2 for $1 something.
So how much would you be able to sell? How much would that sell to people in the street or people in the market?
It depends.
Like walk to it and then point it out.
It depends how, like, you see, it's still growing. It's not full. It's not whole yet. But a good plátano that has about maybe 30 plátanos could be about $15 on the street to someone, or maybe a little bit more. But if you try to take it to somebody that buys and resells, they won't pay more than $10, and maybe even cheaper, because they want to make all the money and they don't really want to help out the farmer. Even though they claim that they're helping the farmers by buying our products, they really don't. For example, after the hurricane, a couple months later, I had about 200 pounds of pumpkins, different types of pumpkins. Usually here it grows green, and I usually sell that for about 50 cents a pound, which is very cheap, because in the supermarket they sell them for $1.09 a pound. I went down to the farmer's place, the farmer's market, where they buy and sell goods. And all I got was $20 worth of for 200 pounds of pumpkin, which is basically $1 for each pumpkin, and almost all the pumpkins weighed more than 5 pounds. I had some that weighed 8-10 pounds. I'm going to show you guys right now an area that we had planted before the hurricane, Hurricane Maria, and how it's coming up afterwards. we could have an example of how the wind affects the area, and basically everything that you see here knocked down, it was about 100 times worse after the hurricane. And this area to the right was completely planted, and it looked exactly like this before the hurricane. After the hurricane, basically all the main plátano plants were knocked down, and some of them were able to regrow from the same plant. And now finally we have plátanos coming up. So if you can see, almost all the plants, all the matas de plátano have racimos. If you look up, they're all in their different stages. The thing is, these plants are more than a year old because of the hurricane, and they should have all been about the same time. So they should have been cut about the same time, and the hijos, the seeds you could call it, should have been taken out and replanted. But because of the hurricane, we couldn't do that, so we just left them there and they grew. Before the hurricane, one of the problems that we had here in the farm was that we planted a lot of orange trees, China del País, which is the native ones to here, and China Mandarina, which is another native one to here. And the problem with them is that there's a type of sickness called citrus greening, which was basically drying up the trees. And I would try to plant smaller ones, and they just didn't grow. They didn't have enough strength. And basically what they tell you is to beef them up, give them a lot of fertilizer and clean them, and then do certain things, which we don't have the money to do that. So we just let them and hope for the best. So before the hurricane, you could see here this tree. It was about half the size, and it was getting dried up. But after the hurricane, which is something I noticed, it started to grow new leaves, greener leaves, and it just blew up. All the trees of the China trees and the orange trees down at the farm started to blow up. They weren't as big as this. They were maybe half the size, and some of them didn't take a full brunt of the hurricane. Since they were small, they weren't growing. But recently, a whole line that we have here, they're big, which feels good, because we've been struggling with them, and that's about like the only thing that has come good out of so much bad within the Hurricane Maria, for at least in our farm, is the orange trees are beginning to grow. And we passed by a China Mandarina tree, and it actually has some chinas, which is the first time in a couple of years that it grew. It was about to die. It didn't have any leaves. Basically, it was just the tree and a couple leaves up at the top. It didn't have any new branches. Now it has many new branches. It keeps growing. You see new leaves, and the China Mandarina orange, which is the native one from here, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
Right here is a great example. This is a coffee tree. You can't tell. Look at over here. Okay? You see the coffee beans? After the hurricane, there was no leaves. The hurricane basically tore the leaves off of everything, and we had coffee beans. Mm-hmm. And they usually turn out red, and they're ripe. You pick them this color, red, right? There was no leaves. There was no shade. They turned out like this. They were basically toasted in the tree.
Uh-huh. Cogiéndolo, subiéndolo, haciendo 20,000 cosas para llevarlo a donde lo compran. Pues entonces ellos lo procesan y bueno, si esto está lleno, Si esto está lleno
Yeah.
hasta arriba, serían como 3 almudes, serían algunos 30 pesos.
Los granjeros, no hay nuevos granjeros como queriendo...
Sembrar no.
Sí, ¿verdad?
No, porque no tienen a quién venderle.
Y esa la... So, la problema es la...
El problema fue
Ujú.
que cuando vino la industrialización,
Sí.
empezaron las grandes compañías a comprar
Ujú.
sitios para hacer diferentes cosas. Compañías de cemento
Yeah.
que empezaron las construcciones con cemento y
Sí.
entonces la agricultura se fue echando para el lado.
Yeah.
Los que cortaban caña, pues como ya no tenían a quién venderle,
Mm.
pues entonces el gobierno cogió y lo que hizo fue que le dejó a los que tenían caña para que ellos se encargaran de las centrales. Pero
Ajá.
ellos no podían mantener las centrales, porque las centrales pues necesitan mucho personal
Sí.
para poder comprar esa caña,
Yeah.
llevarla a limpiar, ¿sabes? Limpiarla con agua a presión y eso,
Yeah.
y después pasarla para entonces molerla, para sacar ya la cáscara que tú le sacaste.
Yeah.
En el molino sacar la parte y exprimir la caña para entonces echarla, para entonces molerla, para hacer el azúcar y aquí mismo la hacían. Pero la gente que no compran,
Yeah.
segundo, la gente que se han ido,
Yeah.
porque como tú ves, las fincas están perdidas,
Yeah.
que la gente no trabaja, no hacen nada.
Sí.
Pues ya mayormente aquella generación pasó. Todo el mundo trabajaba
Yeah,
y
de los
tenían
granjeros.
las fincas,
Ujú.
trabajaban en la finca, con eso mantenían la casa.